Hi there, welcome to my mini workshop on a mandala with the intention of peace. I'm Mara Carlini with Mara's Mandalas, and today we'll be making a peace mandala from start to finish. Today, I'm going to write the intention on the back of the mandala. That's the first way to start to infuse your mandala with the good energy of the intention. So just write peace on the back of your mandala, like this. And then we're going to find the center dot of this square canvas with my X technique. Match your ruler's edge to the top left corner and bottom right corner of the canvas and draw a light line. Then turn your canvas, line up the same corners and draw a light line. There you'll make an X. The center of the X is the center of the canvas, called the true center. It doesn't have to be perfect, about center is fine. For the cross guidelines, line up your ruler so that it intersects with the left side of the canvas, the true center dot, and the right side. Then that ruler should be perfectly parallel. Draw the horizontal line across the canvas and do the same thing on the other side. Now let's make your circles. We're making 4 circles here. So the first line on the ruler should line up with the center dot. And since this is a 6 by 6 inch canvas, that 3-inch mark will line up with the right edge of the canvas. So make a mark on the canvas at these measurements, a 1/2 inch, 2 inch, 2 1/2 inch, like this, and 2 3/4 inch. Remember, you can always rewatch the first portion of this video until you get it right. Now make your circles, take a deep breath, get your compass, and set your compass up on the canvas with that pointy end on the center dot. Place the pencil end on your first hash at the 1/2 inch mark. Use the pencil end to draw a circle lightly on the surface. Repeat this process on each hash until you have your 4 circles. Again, don't worry, if a mistake happens, you can simply pause the video, erase it, and fix it. While you're making your circles, check into mindfulness. This is the first moment here that we're noticing how we're feeling and just starting to connect with your breathing. Just be here in this moment and release the past. Make this a mindful action. Now we're getting into the design of the mandala. The intention for this mandala is peace. So during this design part is where you're going to start bringing in that feeling of peace into your mind as you draw. I'm starting in the center here, making a full lotus flower. So start here with 1 petal. It's a football-shaped petal with 1 point on the center dot and the other point on the first circle. Draw this shape on the main cross guidelines. Try to make this exact shape the same for each petal. Then do it on the other guidelines in between the cross guidelines, so the X guidelines. I'll also make some V shapes in between those to make a full lotus, but let's get this done first. Here come the V shapes. So I'm going in between each petal and just making a little V shape to connect to the circle. Great job. Now I want to actually add another circle. So I'm going to make a guide mark for this circle on 1/8 inch, which is the second line on the ruler. You can see that here. Then make a circle just like before with your compass and connecting to mindfulness as you draw. Now, I know that after I paint this area, I'm going to want to add some dots. So right now I'm just going to make some dots here to kind of show that I want to do that and remind myself for later. So after this, our next flower layer is the lotus petals, known as the Hershey Kiss lotus petals. The first step is to make your first lotus petal the size that you want. Draw a Hershey Kiss shape, just like I'm doing in the video. After you've drawn your first lotus petal, the rest of your lotus petals will need to be the same size. Here we're going to create a guide circle to help with consistent sizing. So place the pencil on the tip of your first Hershey Kiss shaped petal, and then use the pencil to place a dot in between each guideline so you know where the top of your petal will end up, just like this. After you've measured and made your guide circle, draw the rest of these petals. Now they'll all be even. While you're making these petals, come back to being mindful. Take a few deep breaths and let yourself relax. To be mindful in a new activity like this, it's important to keep reminding yourself to connect when you notice that mindfulness went away. Now, let's make another layer of lotus petals. Starting at the tip of one of the lotus petals, and draw that curved line to meet the guideline. Mirror it on the other side, and then guide circle. Make this guide circle just like you did before, lining the tip of your compass with the tip of the petal, and draw the guide circle touching all of the guidelines this time for this layer. Soon, you'll get the hang of it. Are you getting the hang of it? You'll eventually become natural with it, and it'll just be free-flowing. It just takes practice. You're doing great. The more mini workshops you do, the more easily this will come to you. The next layer coming up is the same thing. It's another layer of Hershey Kiss lotus petals, this time starting on the tip of a lotus and drawing the squiggle to meet the second circle. We want the lotus petals to be even. So notice in this step, I usually just eye up where the middle mark is on the circle, just halfway between these two guidelines. I'll make an actual hash here and mark it. And then I just go around and make that lotus petal reach the hash here, since that's exactly midway between the two guidelines. Now the lotus petals will look even. After this, I'm going to make some diamond-shaped stars to add some zazzle to these gaps in between the petals. Just notice how I make these diamonds, making them a curved V shape on each side of the guideline. And you actually can make any shape that you want, but I really love these diamonds that kind of look like stars. Just checking in with your breath. Great job. So fix up anything you need to before moving on. For the next circle, I want to make this U shape halfway between these guidelines. This is easy, just make a U shape on the tip of the lotus petal from the previous step, but on the circle. Oh, and if you want to, you can still use your guide circle so that all of your U shapes are even. Alright, so I did pause my recording here to plan out some of the next steps. Sometimes I do this. I'll draw out the rest of the layers in 1/4 of the mandala to see how it'll all unfold. So I wanted to show that to you. It helps me to see how the layers will interact with each other and if it'll turn out to be a good design or not. So just focus on this circle, the one that we did for our U shapes. I want to make these narrow Hershey Kiss lotuses around them. So go ahead and do this all the way around. And the next design is these V-shaped swirlies. I start with just the right side. So see here, I'll go all the way around, making only the right side of the swirl. Sometimes when we're making a mandala, it's easier for our mind and our body to connect by just doing the same repetitious movement. So when we're doing this swirl all the way around, it's the same thing, and all I do is turn the canvas. Then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll kind of get in the flow of doing this left side swirly, and you can do it any way you like. Now we're making the last circle. I want these wide Hershey Kiss lotus petals here. So see how a narrow circle makes these wider? It's the same lotus petal. So they're exactly the same as these regular lotus petals, but they're in a very narrow circle, making them look really, really wide. It's so cool. So first, make a guide mark on the outer circle to indicate where the center is between the two main guidelines, just like we did for circle 2. The lotus petal is the same classic swirly line, just more narrow. Now I want these dots to appear outside of the circles, starting with a big dot in the middle on the center guideline with these smaller dots on both sides fading away from it. Make sure you know where the top of the canvas is if you want to make the design for when the mandala is standing up. I'm feeling such a strong celestial vibe with these stars that we did, so something that makes me feel peace is the moon. When I see the moon in the sky, it really brings me to the present moment and reminds me of being calm. So I invite you to choose any symbol you would like to go in these corners, and you can always decide later. Again, this will be covered up by paint, but I like to see the design unfold in pencil first. If it helps, you can take a picture of the mandala right now to remember where you had the guidelines. I'm also going to add some stars, as you can see here, to really give it a celestial feel. Once you have the design the way you want it, go ahead and erase all of the guidelines that you won't need anymore. Remember, we go in depth with this process in the Mandalas and Mindfulness Masterclass, so be sure to check that out. I have a link below the video where we get into more design and more detail in mandala making, as well as mindfulness and meditations that really help enhance your mandala making. Now I'm just choosing a color palette, picking out a few colors that I want to start with. You can use the same ones I'm using, or you can choose the colors that call to you for the intention of peace. I'm going to show you the exact colors I'm using and mixing so you can follow along or just learn from the colors I'm making today. Feel free to go on your own path with colors and follow what your heart is telling you. Today I started with a drop of white on my palette, and I want the center of the lotus to be white, but again, make yours any color you'd like. I may need to add a few layers of white to cover up all the pencil marks. Even if they're erased, they may show through. Notice I only use about the size of a pea or a dime. No more than that. A little bit of paint goes a long way. If you want to know more about the paints that I use, go to maracarlini.com and sign up for the Mandalas and Mindfulness Masterclass. This is where I go into great detail with supplies, painting techniques, and meditations too. There's free welcome videos that you can watch that reveal the supplies that we're using in the masterclass and in these workshops. And there's a PDF download, so that's a great place to start and learn about everything you need for making mandalas. The link for that is below this video. So I'm dipping my brush into white paint, and If your compass made a hole in the middle, don't worry. Just drop a little bit of white paint in the center of your canvas. So it might take a few layers of paint to cover the hole, but just let it dry and eventually you'll cover it up. Today I'm using a liner brush. This is the smallest brush and it's really great for detail. Really great for making mandalas. If your paint isn't flowing smoothly, remember you may need to add some water to thin it out, but not too much, or it might be too transparent. So again, more painting details in the masterclass. So for colors today, I want to show you how I choose a color palette sometimes. Here's some color palettes that I find on Pinterest. I just open up the Pinterest app here and I'll type in color palette and the color that I'm looking for. So I typed in blue color palette and I just saw this photo and I really liked it for the piece mandala. It's got these swirly blue things. It's like a crystal design. But there's other color palettes and you can kind of see what color palette you like that would suit you. And scroll through and there we go. So you can always try this on Pinterest or Google. So now I'm mixing some manganese blue with teal and white and I'll add a little bit of gray too if I want to tone it down a little. But I got this light blue and I kind of want to experiment with this for a second to make sure I get the exact shade that I like. Okay, I like this color here. It took me a few tries to get it the exact way that I wanted it. But I really wanted the white lotus in the middle to pop. So we'll add more detail to that lotus here in a minute, and then I'll probably add even more afterwards too. So just take a moment now while you're getting the hang of painting and take a few breaths. Now's a really good time to really bring the energy of peace into your mind. There's no more design going on, so you can really tune in to peace. You can infuse the mandala with this intention while you breathe and think about peace while you paint. We'll get more into that as we go along, and we get way more into that in the masterclass. Right now, all you need to do is create a sense of peace while you paint. Now I'm adding some gold metallic paint for the center circle, for the circle around the lotus. And this layer here I want to be bright and in the center to really bring attention to this lotus. So I used a very light blue and it's like an almost white here on this first lotus petal. And it's the same color as the lotus outline in the center, but I just added more white. So you'll see this in the rest of these lotus layers. I'm going to do the same thing. So I use the same color of blue, but I just add a variety of levels of white to make it kind of an ombre sort of feel for these lotus petals. Remember, pause and take your time. I would like you to remember that this is about mindfulness, not the finished product. It doesn't matter how your mandala looks or how it turns out. And there's no rush at all. It's all about the now. It's all about the present moment as you paint. So while you're painting here, you can follow with me and do the ombre lotus petals or choose any colors that you want. But while we do this, let's get into mandala theory for a second. So mandala in Sanskrit, which is the Indian language commonly used in yoga. So in Sanskrit, mandala means circle. Mandalas are geometric designs that represent the universe, more specifically a microcosm of the universe. So you'll learn all about this in the masterclass, especially if you watch the welcome videos. This layering of circles is meant to show us how we are connected to the infinite universe. Yeah, big deal, right? So infusing peace into this mandala is literally attracting peace into your life because this mandala represents you. When you make a mandala, it automatically represents your connection to something because of the layers. You get to decide what it connects you to. And here, today, we're connecting to peace. Peace is already within us. It can be found within you, not outside of you. When you're frantic and someone says, take a deep breath, it's because breathing connects you to the peace inside of you. Breathing like that brings you to the present moment because you become aware of your breath, which is in the now. For just that moment, bringing awareness to your breath saves you. It calms you. And being calm is the natural state of you. Like still water in a lake. Thoughts and emotions are what cause the water to create turbulence or waves, and one after another, our peaceful water starts to look more and more like an ocean shore. That might be why I chose these ocean-like colors for my peace mandala. It reminds me to be still like water. Remembering the waves of the ocean are just emotions and thoughts, and that's all. This mandala is meant to remind us that if we have a peaceful self underneath all these thoughts, we just need to take time to access that peace and learn how to calm our waves down, even just for a few moments every day. Mandalas are a great way to get you to connect to the peace within you because they are a mindful activity. As you're painting here and following along with me, begin to check into your breathing. Notice that you are breathing and notice the state of your breath. Is the in-breath long? Is it short? It doesn't matter. Just notice it and try not to change it. Just recognize if it's long or short as you're painting. Breathing in and breathing out. That's the first step to mindfulness while painting. If you want to learn more about mindfulness, we go deep into this topic with lessons and tips and guided meditations in the Mandalas and Mindfulness Masterclass. You can even do a quiz in the class that is called What Kind of Meditator Are You? And that tells you what types of meditations are best for your meditative personality. So if you have a hard time meditating, this class is a great way to find out other ways to meditate, even making mandalas like this. So if you're finding this to be relaxing for you, while you're painting with me, then these mandalas may be a really great way for you to access meditation. Mandalas can also help you bring energy into your life. Not just energy, but specific energies. If you're looking for confidence, make a mandala. If you're trying to set a goal for something, make a mandala. Since mandalas connect you to the universe and represent that connection of you to the universe, making a mandala for a specific reason with specific intentions like this will draw that energy into your life. The process is the key. And in the masterclass, you'll also learn how the finished mandala brings this amazing energy to you, even as a finished mandala. So for now, this peace mandala is helping you to bring peace into your life by this simple process that we're doing today. If you want more tips on painting or mixing colors like I'm doing here, things like that, we'll go into more depth about that and the intentions, all of this. You've got to sign up for the masterclass. Just watch the free welcome videos after you make this mandala and you'll learn more about it. So for now, just keep painting and relaxing, connecting with your breathing, and just become very mindful. Just take the next few moments to paint at whatever pace you're at, and don't feel rushed at all. I know my video may be going a little farther than where you are in your process, but I just want to make this a nice short workshop for you. So please take your time, go at whatever pace you're at, and if you need to pause the video, just pause it, and you can, meet up with where I'm at, or you can play your own music while you're painting, and just enjoy the process and don't feel rushed at all. So I'm gonna let you paint. I'm gonna put some music on for just a few minutes, and we'll check back in when I get to the corners. Now I'm working on the corners, where I'm showing you how I do a fade with the acrylic paint. I teach the exact method of this in the masterclass, but I wanted you to see it here because this reminds me of a peaceful ocean. Looking at my reference color palette photo from Pinterest with these turquoise blues and navy blues, I kind of like that it will fade and bring about that feel that I've got going on here. So again, I get more into detail about the fade in the big class, in the master class, but for now you can just paint your corners solid, or you can try this technique by just watching the video. So it takes practice and techniques from the masterclass, but eventually you'll get this blended look on the corners of the mandala. Great job. All right, and remember, paint the sides of your canvas too. You don't want to leave those white. They look really great and solid and smooth, especially when it's sitting on your tabletop, when they're painted just like that. Great job. Now you have a nice coat of paint on the entire mandala, but you're not done. It's time to work on some details of the mandala to really make it special. I'm starting with the middle lotus here, and I just really wanted to pop with some more of this navy blue. So some colors we have to wait until we make them before we put them in the center. This navy blue kind of came out after I did the corners, so now I can use it in the center here, and it's the same shade. Remember, as you're painting details here, check in with your breath. And now that you're used to this painting process, I also want you to check in with your posture. Where are you finding that you're tight? What muscles are you clenching that don't need to be worked right now? Maybe your jaw or your legs? Be mindful of this and relax these muscles while you paint. Remember, there's no rush to finish. It's all about the now. If you need breaks, pause the video, take a break, and come back with the intention of being mindful during this entire process. It's not only an artistic adventure, it's also a practice of mindfulness. So from here out, feel free to follow along with the detailing that I'm adding in here, or you can be creative and make your own designs. In fact, I encourage you to make your own designs because this is your piece mandala, and you may have a different vision of peace than I do. So please remember to follow along, if it gives you ideas and inspires you, but be creative and make your own designs as you go. Let's take some time now to just listen to some relaxing music to tune into your intention of peace as we go along with this next segment of the workshop. It'll help you relax and just breathe no matter where you are in your painting. Just allow my mandala to give you ideas for how you can doodle on your mandala, and don't be limited to what I'm doing here. This is just like a yoga class. Not everyone's pose looks the same, even though we're getting the same guidance into a pose. All of our downward dogs will look different no matter what. Everyone's body is different, everyone's perception is different, and everyone's experience has been different to how you got to this moment. So your yoga pose and your mandala will not look like mine, and mine will not look like yours, but they're both equally beautiful in their own unique way. Let the music here be a guide to mindfulness in this next few minutes of painting your mandala. And remember to cultivate the feeling of peace as you listen. Just a friendly reminder, I hope that you're enjoying the music and connecting with mindfulness as you paint, no matter where you are in your process. Just acknowledge where you are in your painting and in your process, and honor where you are in your painting and your process, and honor where you are in your life and where you are in your process of life. And allow yourself to not compare yourself or your life to anyone's life, just as you're not comparing your mandala to my mandala or anyone else's mandala. This practice is about you. It's about connecting to your truth and connecting to mindfulness, which will keep you present and keep you connected to your truth as you journey through your life. It will keep you peace in your heart, and it will remind you to release any anxieties or stressors along the way. So continue to listen to some music for another few moments as you bring these ideas of peace into your mandala. So you'll notice I made these moons in these positions for my mandala, but feel free to do any shapes you want on the outside corners. The white paint you use will cover up anything, I'm telling you. You may need a few layers of it, but I'll paint right on top of dark colors with white. It just takes some work. Now I'm getting into this 3-dimensional gold paint, and it really makes this mandala dazzle, doesn't it? I reveal the type of paint that I use for this in the welcome videos of the masterclass in the link below this video. The detail is really the fun part of making a mandala, and as you can see, it takes your mandala to the next level. If we would have left it without these designs, first of all, it would be a bit bland, but it would also not be uniquely yours. It would not have the energy of you in it. So continue to watch me as you paint and get ideas for some doodles, but again, make your mandala completely your own. Mandalas are amazing tools for mindfulness. They help guide you on your journey because they're little reminders. This little mandala you're making will sit on your desk or your nightstand or somewhere you love, and each time you see it, you're going to think of the intention peace. You're going to remember painting it and feeling the positive feelings that you felt while painting it. As you continue to paint your mandala, even if this workshop video ends, remember that when you paint your mandala, you want to be relaxed and in the moment, never rushing or pushing to finish. You may need a few layers of paint depending on what type of paint you're using, so just be patient with this and use this as a tool for mindfulness, even when there's frustration. If you ever feel like you need a break, take one and just come back to it when you're ready. The key is to be in the moment and creating peaceful thoughts as you paint. If you like painting to music, find some relaxing music to listen to while you paint so you can continue to enjoy the process. So here comes my finished mandala. It's almost there. See how the details push it to the next level? That's what you're doing with yours right now. So take your time and enjoy the process here. When you finish, take a picture of you and your mandala together and tag me on Facebook or Instagram because I love to see what you've created. There are links to my pages below the video. If you want to know everything there is to know about mandalas and how they create positive change in your life, sign up for my Mandalas and Mindfulness Masterclass, where you'll go in depth about mandalas and mindfulness techniques, 8 guided meditations, and chakra energy too. You'll find out what meditation style yours is and why you're drawn to certain colors. You'll learn your heart's truest intention and how to really infuse your mandala with energy. You'll learn my secret techniques and you'll make a 12 by 12 inch mandala. Also check out my mandala and art shop where you'll be inspired with more original art including mandalas, angels, and abstracts, and also mandala products like garden flags, greeting cards, coasters, and more, all at maracarlini.com. If you had fun in this mini workshop, please be sure to subscribe to Mara's Mandalas email list where you'll get the latest mini workshop releases, discount codes, and updates, and sign up for my special list below the video if you aren't subscribed already. When you've finished your mandala, make sure you sign the mandala at the bottom corner. That's what makes it yours too. Thank you so much. It's so amazing to share in this mindful journey together with you. Enjoy your mandala on peace, and I'll see you in the next workshop.